Hey everyone, it's Viv from Wisdom Released, and welcome to your daily reading for June the 26th, 2018. I'm using the Wildwood Tarot, Wherein Wisdom Resides by Mark Ryan and John Matthews. I have already pulled the cards, and this is because, to be absolutely honest, I've had a go at recording this video a couple of times now, and it's not worked for one reason and another. However, I feel strongly that these cards are the messages for today, so I'm giving it one more go, and if it doesn't work, no worries, I'll start again and I'll pull some new cards. However, so I pulled 4 cards, so the first one being the overall energy, and then 3 signifying the messages for today. So the overall energy for today is the Chariot, or the Archer, in this card, in this deck. So the Archer here, she's standing very strong. She's very focused on what it is that she wants to go after. She's about to let her arrow fly, or is she? She's seen something that she's got her eye on, and she's moving towards it. She has resources as well, because she's got more arrows in her quiver. But she hasn't let this arrow fly just yet. She has her 2 loyal companions with her, and I'm drawn to the fact that they're both white, so it feels like there's a pure intention there behind her, and they are ready to follow her in any direction that she chooses to go, and follow that arrow wherever it flies, and towards whatever target she's aiming at. There is a feeling of consequences with this card today, almost like a be careful what you wish for, and because she hasn't let the arrow fly, there's almost like she's poised and ready, but I'm not sure whether she's going to do it or not. There's a question around whether she's going to let it fly, and whether what she's aiming at is what she really wants to target. The next 3 cards, there's the Death card, the Journey card, the Sun card in the middle, and then we have the Queen of Stones. And the Death card, it could signify an ending, it could signify a breakup, it could signify the end of a phase in your life. It could sometimes be a physical death, a passing of someone close to you. It could also mean second chances as well. For me, it's more of a transition card. It's not so much of an ending. It's a passing from one phase to another. That's how it feels to me. And this card very sort of graphically depicts like the circle of life, in that another being is feeding from another being, is kind of being given life after the passing of something else. The something else that's come to an end in this card is a stag. So we have the stag skull here, and the stag in this deck is the guide, so like a figure of wisdom that leads the wanderer or the fool through the forest. So when the wanderer starts off on his or her journey, the next person that she meets in this deck is this guide, which is the stag. So for me, there's a real feeling of this raven feeding on the wisdom of this stag. So what it suggests to me is wisdom that's been passed down through the generations. So this may be something that maybe your grandparents, or maybe your parents, or somebody further back in the family passed on to you, used to say to you. It could be wisdom coming from somebody else, from somewhere else. Wisdom that's being passed on, that has something to do with helping you transition through this, transition through today, whatever challenge, whatever circumstance, situation is facing you today. There is wisdom in it that is here to benefit you. The wisdom, though, may not be that obvious, and I'm saying that because the raven is feeding on the skull under the full moon, and full moon suggests that that there may be something like a hidden learning or a hidden wisdom, or the transition, the opportunity that's been given here, the next phase, the door opening, the gate opening, is not tremendously obvious. However, the next card is the Sun card, and the Sun card is all about clarity. And what I'm drawn to in this card is the light that's shining within this figure, that is literally bursting from his chest, and he's like taken off. He's almost ready for liftoff somehow. There's a real feeling of energy and power to this card, but this knowing, this purpose, he's really connected to it, and resonates very deeply. It's like a very deep sense of knowing that this is what he's meant to do. So for me, it resonates with the overall energy card, the Chariot. That she knows what it is that she's aiming at, and he knows what it is that he's meant to do. There's a real deep sense of clarity here. This wisdom, though, is going to help you gain the clarity, I think. So it will help you gain the clarity to either take the wisdom, see whether the wisdom resonates or not. Wisdom very often coming from somebody else. If it's like being handed down through a family, or if somebody else has been giving advice about a situation that you're transitioning through, it may have been right for them in that particular circumstance, but it may not be right for you. So the invitation here, really, the Sun card, I think, is asking you to ask yourself, does this really resonate with me? Does this really feel right? Do I, while I'm going through this transition, do I take this opportunity? Do I move forward with this second chance, or do I not? So there's only you that can decide, really. It's only you that can decide whether it feels right for you or not. And that's kind of confirmed for me with the Queen of Stones card. When I look at this card, I sometimes get a strong sense that the Mama Bear here is leaving her cave to go out into the wild world for the purposes of protecting her family, for the purposes of protecting what she's already created. Sometimes when I look at it, there's a sense that she's retreating, again, for the same purpose, to protect what she's, protect her home and her family. But when I'm looking at it today, it feels like she doesn't know whether she's coming or going. However, the Sun card and this Journey card are really going to come together to help her decide whether she moves forward or whether she stays put. What I'm struck by are the colours that are in the Sun card here that are repeated in the Queen of Stones card, and this clarity, this deep sense of knowing what's really right for you, is going to help you decide what you do. Do you go after your target? Do you release that arrow and let it fly? Or do you put the arrow back in the quiver and take your time and wait for another opportunity? If this is a card of second chances, my feeling is, whether it's a real second chance or not, is going to reveal itself regardless of whether you move forward or whether you stay put. So, like I say, there is a sense of consequences today. It doesn't feel like a bad thing, but I think if you're making a conscious decision about whether to move forward on something today, that you make that conscious decision knowing in the full awareness that that decision will have consequences. Not necessarily bad ones, but there will be consequences. Okay. I hope that's made sense to you. I hope that's resonated and been useful. I'll be back again tomorrow with another reading, and until then, take care.